Good evening. I'm Stephany Davis, your host of the Tennessee Freedom Coalition and the Tennessee Thunder podcast. Welcome. We're running just a little bit late this evening because we had to do a setup in a remote location. So sorry it took so long, but we are here. And we are going to be bringing our guest on here very shortly. But first, I want to go over what we government, low taxes, small regulation, and sound money, something we can all be appreciative for. So today or tonight, we do have a very special program, one that I think everyone will appreciate. And hold on just a second because we've got a note here from Facebook saying that they're having a problem with us. So let me see what that's about. Phone. Yeah, ended. That's weird. It says it's live. Freedom Coalition and the Tennessee Thunder. Good evening. I'm Stephany Davis with the Tennessee Thunder podcast. Welcome. We've been having some problems here with Facebook tonight with our streaming software, so we're trying to repair that. Just wanted to welcome you. We are brought to you by the Tennessee Freedom Coalition, where we believe in small government, low taxes, small regulation, and sound money, something we can all be appreciative of. Welcome to our podcast. We always come on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock, but we were running a little bit late due to some problems with our remote location. We are not in our normal studio tonight. We have a special guest tonight, and so we had to come and do a remote location, and I'm not quite sure how the internet is going to work tonight. So just bear with us. If you lose us, just try to go back onto YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble and find us again. So without further ado, let me make sure everybody is on here. Let's see. I'm waiting on Charles Cook. Charles Cook is going to be our co-host tonight. He's who is also going to be here. And I'm sorry about the, hopefully you all are seeing us. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring Wendy on here. Miss Wendy. Hi, Wendy.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. So this is kind of an unusual podcast because we've done this a couple of times in the past where we couldn't really hook up online. So we brought Wendy to our remote studio at Hardee's in Maynardville. So I'm not quite sure how well their internet works. We're going to try it out and see. If for some reason we don't make it tonight, we will try to have her back on again soon. We'll try to reschedule. We're waiting on Charles Cook to come on. and he's been sent a link for our streaming. So hopefully he'll be on here again soon. Let me make sure he's got our correct. Let's see. Don't think he does. Let me try to invite him again. We have to send our co-host a link. Okay, I'm going to try to get him. Just bear with me a second. Hope everyone is doing well tonight. I have to manually type all this in, so thank goodness for live, where you can make all kinds of mistakes. Okay, .com/JQQ3UX DXR9. Okay, so apparently, it made me re-enter that. I don't know why Charles is not able to join us, but for some reason he can't see it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up the questions. Give me just a second, folks. Sorry about this. Oh, there you are. Okay. All right. So, again, to my left is Miss Wendy Ellis. Wendy, do the Vanna White thing here. Miss Wendy is from Hamblen County, and she has become an activist in a big issue going on in Hamblen County. Miss Wendy, tell us a little bit about what's been going on with you in Hamblen County.
Well, there's people that got letters saying that they had 90 days to get out of their campers on their own land that's hooked up to utilities, septic. We're not talking unsanitary living here. And they gave them 90 days to get out. Well, I went and I had a friend and an uncle that got these letters. And I said, surely you're not the only two that got them. So I went to Facebook and I made a Facebook post about it. And I had people commenting and sending me personal messages telling me their stories about them getting their letters and why they live in campers.
Okay. So were the people living, were they renting or were they on their own property?
They're on their own property.
Oh, wow.
They are on their own property. They pay land taxes.
Oh,
and
wow.
Yes, that's why I started this fight, because when the government tells you what you can and cannot live in, when the economy is so bad right now, campers has become affordable housing, and tiny homes has become affordable housing now.
There you go. So basically the government decided that they were going to give everybody a hard time living in campers on their own property.
Just half of them.
Oh, half of them. Oh, really? So tell me, what kind of right did they have to do that? What did they cite as their right to do so?
They said that the campers that got these letters had somebody call in on them, saying that they lived in campers. Well, they're trying to use a 30-year-old law to get these people out.
Oh, okay.
Saying that campers are not permanent housing. But if that was the case, then there would be a lot more campers had gotten letters if they wanted all of them out.
Right. So you smelled a rat right away.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into this kind of thing. Because I know a lot of people have lived normal lives up to this point, especially after 2020. We started seeing a lot of citizen activists.
Yes.
So tell us what inspired you to get more involved with your local government.
Well, actually, when my friend got that letter, and then my uncle did, I just went to Facebook, saw all the people that was online telling me their stories, and I went to bed with a heavy heart. Well, I am a Christian, even though I don't go to church every Sunday. I am a Christian, and I do believe in my Savior.
Right.
So I was praying, and God told me that this was my fight.
Oh, wow.
So that's why I started fighting.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we certainly appreciate your fight, and it's something that we wish a lot more citizens would take a part of. We have a lot of people that still want to think all this is just going to go away on its own. And since 2020, we're starting to realize that that is not the case. Whether it's your local government, your state government, your national government, pretty much the government is here, and they have gotten more emboldened, and they have gotten more in your face than ever as far as your rights goes.
They forget that they work for us.
Exactly. That's something I love. So Charles says he's waiting to enter. I do not see him. So let me see if I can get him on the phone. Hold on just a second. It's your number. Oh.
So you were talking about
go ahead.
My background and stuff.
Yes, go ahead and tell us your background. I'm going to try and get Charles on.
I live with my husband. I have a beautiful daughter named Sarah.
Oh, I do too.
And I have 2 grandbabies named Maddie and Mackenzie, and they are Mama's world.
Oh,
so I'm just an ordinary woman trying to make a difference in the world.
And you know, we tell people all the time on this show, on this podcast, or we'll get him on here, that it's really about normal, regular, everyday citizens getting involved in their local government. And really and truly, when it comes down to it, with even all the national and all the global stuff that we feel we can't control, it's the local scene that we can control the most.
Well, actually, I think that our local elections are actually more important than our presidential elections.
Absolutely.
Because the local government controls our lives every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we are learning that more and more each day. So let me see if I can get Charles on. This over again. Okay. So we're back. We're back on the podcast. So now we have Charles Cook. Charles was trying to join us with video, but because we have such a weak signal here at Hardee's, he's not able to do that. So you can hear him on this phone. Charles, we have just started talking with Wendy. I don't know if you caught any of the questions, but go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone.
Okay, I live in Hamblen County where all of this is going on. Podcast about state issues as well.
Okay. I didn't catch all that. I'm sorry. Go ahead and say it again.
Oh, okay. So, as I said, I'm Charles Cook, and I live here in Hamblen County where a lot of this stuff is going on. and I actually do a podcast here in the state of Tennessee about state and local issues, kind of these kind of issues as well.
All right. Yeah, we want to thank Mr. Charles Cook. He is supposed to be co-hosting. We may have to re-record this again when we got a better signal and a better setup here. But we're going to go ahead and try to muddle through this all we can and talk with Miss Wendy. So, Charles, do you have any questions for Wendy, or do you want to know where we left off? I just basically asked her how she got involved with activism, and she gave me a very good answer that activism is something that she was kind of brought into because she saw what was happening in our country, and she she got on board. She's just a regular everyday person like anyone. You want to intervene any there? Can you hear me? Oh, guess not. Okay. So I don't know how well we're going to be able to communicate tonight with, this is a terrible setup here. I thought we could get a better signal. Let me try to call him one more time. We're going to give this our best effort. If not, we'll just reschedule the podcast. We were talking with Mr. Charles Cook and Wendy, who is from Hamblen County.
Hi, this is Charlie. I'm unavailable, but
Okay. So we're having a problem connecting to Charles. What we're probably going to have to do is redo this later, but let's just get through the basics and then we'll have this all professionally done later. So Miss Wendy, tell us a little bit what happened as far as when you guys started getting involved with this.
Well, we started with the protest,
Mm-hmm.
and I had posted a petition on change.org. It's Campers Our Homes,
Mhm.
capital C, capital H.
Mm-hmm.
I posted the petition online. People started coming to our protest, signing the petition in person.
Mm-hmm.
Then we started going to all the planning and zoning meetings, all the commissioners' meetings, and we are not letting this die down.
Okay.
You know, the people kept saying, well, the government's going to do what they're going to do. I just got to figure out a way to come out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I stepped up. People started realizing that you do have a voice.
Oh, yeah.
And we united. It's the saying, united we stand, divided we fall.
Absolutely.
And we've been united and starting to make them see the light.
Awesome. So give me some of the meetings that you've been to. Tell me some of the objections you faced.
They have been saying that campers are trashy, unsanitary, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the people that we've been fighting for, they're on their own land. They have light, septic tanks and water. And they should be able to live in what they want to live in. Now, I've seen some of the commissioners' homes, and the code enforcer needs to go by there.
Okay.
But when 14 can throw out 50,
Mm-hmm.
that's when the 50 or more that supports them
Mm-hmm.
needs to stand up and show them.
Mm-hmm.
One of the commissioners in one of the meetings, I think it was February 12th meeting, he spoke of spot logic.
Okay.
He said that the Trekkies out there will know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But it's spot logic. It's, from Star Trek. And
I love Star Trek.
so it's a Trekkie quote. He said that the needs of the many outweighs the needs of the few.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when we started standing up for these people's rights,
Mm-hmm.
they are now seeing that we are the many and they are the few.
Oh, I like it. That's a really different perspective, because we always imagine the government as this big entity that nobody can fight. No one can even try to approach. You've heard the old saying, you can't fight City Hall. And that's what we've always been conditioned to think, that we have no rights when it comes to the elected, even though they work for us, like you said earlier.
Correct.
And you found something very different. You found that when people stood up to their elected representatives, because a lot of times elected representatives, when they go in, they mean well. They say, oh, I'm going to go in, I'm going to fight for the people. And then when they get in there, they either get bullied out of that because there's older commissioners or school board member, whatever the job is, that tries to get them to back down, or they feel outnumbered, or they feel that they only hear one voice because they're getting lobbied by that one voice instead of the many. So when the many finally shows up, says we've had enough, they're like, oh, well, I didn't know these guys were out there. So that's what you're basically saying.
We've had commissioners say they are not willing to kick people out of their homes, but there are some commissioners that are hardcore no, but it's not all, like I said, it's not all the campers. It's just a chosen few that they have.
So what's happened as far, you said it was a 1990 resolution. So have they ever tried to bring that resolution out that you know of in the past against anybody?
No, they actually, some of these people, they did give permits to hook up their power pole, hook up their sewage and everything.
So this is the first time they've actually said, we're going to come in and throw you out if you don't get out. And how many properties are involved?
I'm thinking, well, nobody can give a correct answer to that, but they're saying around 50.
Okay, so you think each lot is about an acre or half acre?
Or more.
Oh, really? So these are pretty good sized lots. So tell me what happened once the word got out that they were trying to get you out of there. You gave me a little story. I think we may have Charles Cook on here. Oh, wonderful. Hi, Charles.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Finally. Yeah.
Finally. Yeah, I think we just have a poor signal. We got one bar here at Hardee's.
Okay. Yeah, that tends to happen in places like that. So
yeah, this
anyway.
isn't my house. Well, welcome to the podcast.
Okay, great. I'm glad to join. So what have I missed so far?
So she was getting up to the part. She's given us a background of what's happened here. She's told us about their activism, how they started going to the meetings, and basically that people are starting to kind of take notice, back down a little bit from being so hardcore about getting rid of these folks off their own property. And basically, she was just answering a question about how much acreage was involved with these property lots. And so you said about a half acre or more for property lots. And that some of the people were getting phone calls from different entities trying to buy them out. So even though that's not really, something we could enter into the court for proof of anything, it is interesting. What say you, Charles?
Well, I've been watching this go on since about 2019 when they started with this codes enforcement stuff. So, so we started pushing back on some of that then. And Wendy I don't know if Stephanie's told you, but I do live here in Hamblen County. So I've seen this going on for a while. I don't know if it has anything to do with the realtors or anything, or if it's just because they were also talking about, people parking cars in their yards and stuff like that. Part of the problem is, there may be 4 or 5 cars parked in the yard and becomes a big mud puddle, especially during the winter, and people complain about that, and I get it. Nobody wants to live across from that or next to it, but in the end, it's their property rights as well. So that's what we have to really have to look at. And so, if y'all don't mind, do you mind if I share something with you?
Go right ahead, Charles.
Okay, so I want to pull this up from the Hamblen County webpage.
Perfect.
Okay.
You got the floor.
Okay. Can y'all see that?
Yes, I'm going to pull it up for you.
Okay. So I'm sharing this from the planning commissioners. So it says the planning commission is an advisory board made up of 5 Hamblen County citizens and 2 Hamblen County commissioners, all appointed by the Hamblen County mayor. Respective board reviews subdivision plats, rezoning requests, administrator interpretations, zoning variances, and property maintenance violations at their monthly meeting. So this John Hoffer, he is the chairman of the planning commission. Okay. Charles Anderson is the chairman, vice chairman. Okay. Edgar Gray is the secretary, and Kay Hell is the planning is also on the planning commission along with Bill Hicks. So all of those folks are serving at the leisure of Hamblen County Mayor Bill Britton. But you also have 2 Hamblen County commissioners that are serving on this board, Thomas Doty and Rodney Long. Now, of course, they are elected, but they are appointed to this board by the mayor. So all of this stuff has to be being driven from the mayor's office, because it could stop tomorrow if the mayor told them, let's don't do this anymore.
Mhm.
So I wanted to share that and let the people know that this is, can you see me now? Back again?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. So, because I seen you guys go out and I'm the only one on the screen now. So, anyway, so as I said, I just wanted to make sure everybody understands that this is what's going on there. It's kind of like the administrative state at the federal level, and the state level is these people are serving at the for the mayor of Hamblen County, and if it wasn't being driven by him or somebody connected to him, this would not happen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I also add that Bill Britton is stepping down October the 1st, and Chris Cutshaw will be taking his place as mayor.
Yes.
He is the chairman of the commissioners.
Yeah, he is the chairman of the Hamblen County Commission, and I guess when the mayor steps down, he serves until the position is filled.
Yes.
Okay.
And
So
that's 2 years away.
do what?
And the elections is like 2 years away.
Yeah, it will be.
Be mayor for 2 years.
Yeah, it'll be in the general election will be in August of 26 for
Yes.
the Hamblen County mayor's position.
Mhm.
But so, as I said, this all started back when Howard Shipley, who just passed away a week or so ago, was chairman of the Hamblen County Commission. There was a big presence of people who showed up and spoke their mind then. Of course, there was the commission, half of the seats have flipped on the commission since then. So we know, that this has been going on. And what we just have to realize is, hey, this is coming from the mayor's office. If it wasn't, it would be stopped right now, because these people serve on this commission, on that planning commission, at the leisure of the mayor.
So, Charles, one of the problems we've always struggled with here in Union County is that we have all these little committees that they started forming. This has been a few years back, that the mayor appoints to all these little committees, whether it's boards, committees, whatever. And one of the issues that I've always had about that is that those boards can always be stacked. That's the problem with those committees, in my opinion, So do you think that since the state has allowed the counties to do that is actually a way for corruption to creep in and basically take I guess you'd say, the rights out of the people's hands to control it? Because let's face it, people have to work. They can't even hardly get to a county commission meeting, and now you're asking them to go to 5 or 6 committee meetings a month. What say you about that? Do you think that's a bad idea to have all these committees?
Well, yes. I mean, ultimately, the authority rests with the county commission. So what they're doing is they're pushing the responsibility of the county commission off on the planning commission or this commission or the finance, whatever. The county commission is split up into all these committees and stuff, and so you have the zoning board or all this and that, the tree board. These are positions that the mayor uses in any county, not just Hamblen County, to take care of buddies. And here's one thing that people forget. Hey, if I want to keep Stephany quiet and not be outspoken, let me offer her a position on this board. Now, Stephany, you're on my board now. You have to kind of be quiet and go along to get along, or I'll remove you from the board. So what they've done is they bought you to keep you quiet, and that's the way these things work. And so back to what I was saying, this goes on in every county, every city council. It serves at the leisure of the mayors and stuff. They have their own boards and everything. It may be on the solid waste board or whatever. They give these people these positions, and they use those positions to kind of keep control of these people. But they also, when the rubber comes to meet the road, if something happens and the citizens don't like it, well, we did it at the recommendations of the planning commission. All this come from the planning commission, and so that's how they use it to become scapegoats. It's like how many county sheriffs do you see putting up speed cameras? Because the county sheriff is elected. All of these other positions are appointed. So the only way you can get rid of these people is get rid of the mayor. And chances are the other one that comes in will fill it with the same type of people.
I think now I was wrong about Chris Cutshaw because I thought that this had started over that camper being down from his house. But the more that I have investigated, and it kills me to say that I was wrong. I was wrong about that because he wasn't, because the ones that lives on his road never got a letter. But like I said, why did some campers get letters and some campers didn't? And if this was over, they weren't allowed to be lived in as a permanent dwelling, then why did all these other campers not get a letter?
Right.
Yeah. Well, it all comes down to people respecting your property rights. And what you're seeing is folks on the planning commission serving for the mayor who doesn't care about your property rights. You have county commissioners serving on this who do not care about your property rights. Right. And you also have a codes enforcement officer, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it right here. A codes enforcement officer who takes an oath to the Constitution to serve and protect and defend, to serve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States more than anything else, that is willing to go knock on doors and serve papers in violation of people's property rights. Now, what happens if they show up on somebody's property and they say, I'm not going to let you violate my rights? Things can get ugly real quick. Now, it's the officers that's going to have to deal with this and not the people on the planning commission. Yes. This is what I say. If you want if you want to put this out from the planning commission, and then the county commission wants to vote to pass this as an ordinance or a law, I say get your big boy pants on and you go serve the papers. You
Right.
come on my front porch and serve me with the papers, Mr. County Commissioner, Mr.
Right.
Planning Commission, and we'll see how fast we get you off my front porch.
Well, I said
You know,
this. There is a veteran that had fought for our country for 9 years. And he said that he is not moving. He is not paying $50 to pay for an appeal to beg for his survival for 3 minutes. He's not paying the $50 fine. And when they come to take his camper off of his land, they'll be taking him out in a body bag.
Yep. Well, and we don't want things like that to happen.
No, we don't.
This is what happens is you have these people sitting in these offices or on these commissions that pass these laws, and they're not the ones sending going out with the officer that's having to deal with this stuff. And so it's sad that we have people that's doing that and violating people's rights. That's what it boils down to. It all boils down to a violation of property rights, and and they don't care. So it's up to us come next election to hold these people accountable and remove them from office. And
Correct.
They're counting on this being forgotten. Now, don't lose sight of the fact that you also have people that support this kind of stuff.
Oh, yes.
This is what you hear. I have to drive by that every day going home. It's an eyesore. I don't like it. Well, it's their property, and you may not like it. And here's the thing. So today it's the campers.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow it's your property. Your deck is not kept up good enough. Your house is not kept up good enough. It's not painted well enough. Whatever. Your grass is too tall. And they continue to take these steps to harass. There's people getting being harassed all the time now in the city of Morristown over a car sitting in the driveway or their grass being a little tall. The officer comes by, puts a sign in their yard, doesn't ask them, are you having health issues or what? They don't care.
No, they don't.
They don't care. They could care less. And then it's I'm just doing my job.
So what I'm hearing with all this is that we have government that has turned into an HOA.
Yes. Taxpayer funded.
A taxpayer funded HOA. Is that pretty much the way you take it, Charles?
Yes, and it all goes back to I would go back to saying that it goes to what kind of community do you want to have?
Mm-hmm.
This is the question that's being asked to the city council and the county commission. What kind of community do you want to have? Do you want to have a community where people can enjoy their property and do what they want to on their property? Or do you want to have a community that looks like Hilton Head? Well manicured, people drive through, blah, blah, blah. Everything is at it, that's what they do. And so they don't care about coming in and violating your rights as long as certain people in the community are happy. See, when you tear off your deck of your house and rebuild it, you're supposed to go get a new building permit.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff here now, what happened to my property? What I'm doing on my property? People don't think about this. It's letting that government at this level, at the lowest level right here close to us, encroach more on us every day. And then you have these people who work in our communities that are the ones doing it. We look at Washington and say, well, look what they're talking about doing. They want to do this and they want to do that. We're not even paying attention what our local government is doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I always tell people your local government is something you can control a lot easier than your state or your national governments, because those are further away. It takes a little bit more activism to control those. So tell us, Miss Wendy, what has happened since you guys have been pushing back? What have you seen happen as a result?
Well, they gave them a 90-day extension, which would have put them out on my birthday, September the 15th.
Okay.
Which that was my way of God telling me, you're doing this. You're following what I'm telling you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so that I was like, God ain't gonna let them kick these people out on my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And then last night they voted to suspend the deadline for these people to get out, because they can't figure out how long it's going to take them to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
They had a workshop from 4 to 4:30 last night. They only got past, they didn't even get past the second workshop because it was storage of campers and stuff, and nobody could agree upon what an empty lot was.
So
Y'all think I'm joking? I'm not.
no, oh no.
So they were going to they're setting up a new workshop, which I don't have that date because they couldn't give us a date or time. They said, oh, well, it'll be up on our website when we figure it out. Now, the commissioner is the third Thursday of every month. Well, this next commissioner's meeting is on my anniversary.
Oh, my.
On August the 15th.
I think Charles has a question. Go ahead, Charles.
So, Wendy, have you driven through Cherokee Park?
Oh, yes. I actually was down there getting people to sign our petition. And the Cherokee Park, I know that you're talking about like where they were letting people live there all year round when they wasn't supposed to.
Yes.
Now, if you, there is another campground called Hookers and Hunters.
Mm-hmm.
And that place, have you ever drove through there?
I've been by there. I haven't driven to it.
I said if you drove through there, you would want to lock your doors.
Oh, my. Well,
So,
with a name like
well, it's supposed to be for fishermen and hunters.
I get it.
Right,
I'm just being funny.
But they've let people live there year-round, and
Yeah.
Let's look at this. And I brought this to the county commissions. I stood in front of the county commission and told them this myself. The county commission, the Cherokee Park is the only park that belongs to Hamblen County. All the other parks, either a state park or city parks. So the only park in Hamblen County is Cherokee Park. The campground that is funded by the Hamblen County taxpayers is got people living there year round. Like Wendy said, they have built permanent structures on RVs and campers, built awnings, covers over it, permanent structures over tops of them. I'm talking about the new metal carports that people buy. They put them on county property. They built decks on them. And the county has been letting people live on county property year round with permanent structures built on their campers and RVs. And nothing has been said. They do not have sewer hookup out there. Now they're talking about having utilities available. They do not have sewer. They have this tank that hooks to the camper that it's portable. You take it off and dump it at the sewage dump site there at the campground.
Mhm.
They do not have piped sewage hookups.
Right.
So that tank can leak out on the ground. Those campers, some of those campers have been there for years.
Mhm.
Okay. And now, so you have people living on county property like that at taxpayers' expense. Taxpayers, if I wanted to pull a camper out there, if I had one and wanted to go out there and camp, I would have to be around all of this instead of regular campers. So I really can't even go on my own where my county tax dollars are supposed to be spent because the county has let that happen. Yet they want to tell the property taxpayers, I call them tax victims, the property tax victims,
Right.
that we can't do what we want to on our property, but they can go do the same thing on county property. Now, this is how ridiculous this is. And we don't have maybe 2 people on the county commission that has the guts to speak up and say this is wrong. And I told those folks at the county commission, I said, go out through there. I said, it will make you ashamed of what our county property, what our county park is. They just sit there and look at you like, oh, okay. Oh, I don't believe you,
Yeah, I talked to so many people in there, and they said that the park had gave them until October to get out, but they could leave for the winter or whatever, a few months, and then come back and stay up until fall, from spring to fall.
Like a temporary thing.
Mhm.
If you go to Panther Creek State Park, you go to one of the state parks in Tennessee, you're allowed 2 weeks. And then you have to leave.
14 days to be exact.
Yeah, 14 days, 2 weeks to leave. Then you can come back and stay another two weeks, 14 days. But you got people who's been out there for years.
Oh, yeah.
And yet you're going to tell someone that I cannot put a camper. What if I own 100 acres of wooded land and I want to set up my camper and camp from September to mid-January to deer hunt? You're telling me I can't do that on my own property?
And I think
That's what they're trying to. They're trying to.
I think a lot of it is because they know these folks are, especially if someone moves in on your property that you're paying taxes for. Like, say you bring your kids in to live in a camper because they can't find affordable housing. I think a lot of it is okay. Is because they're going to lock the doors on us, Charles. So we're going to have to wind up real quick. But I think a lot of that is because they think these people are not taxable, especially when you bring them into your property. They know they can't touch them. And we had our county attorney tell our county commission that the reason or that they couldn't be taxed, they can't be touched. And I think that's got their drawers in the water, as we used to
one
say.
commissioner actually, they was like, so is this over safety or is this over you can't tax them?
Mhm.
And one commissioner said, to me, it's because we can't tax them.
Mhm.
But before the new jail started to be built, they actually raised the city and county taxes to pay for that jail. Now, one of the commissioners said that was a lie, that they didn't just raise taxes. Well, before the jail, it's like 2 years. Well, that's still, to me, just raising taxes. And they actually made the county pay 20 cents more in taxes than they did the city.
Well, basically, we're going to have to wind up here, Charles. And I don't know if the answer is to conclude this at another podcast, but we're in Hardee's and they're closing and they're going to lock us, as they said, in for the night.
Yeah.
So we'll have to conclude. We'll be back next week. If Wendy and both of you, we'll try to do this at my house next time where we've got a better signal and we'll do a more comprehensive podcast. Is that okay with you, Charles?
Yeah, that's fine. And I'm glad I was able to join and add a little bit to it. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Charles. I'll be back in
Thank
touch.
All right.
Thank you so much. Great night.
Bye.
So, folks, you have a wrap here. We are in a remote location in Hardee's and Maynardville. They're running us off for the night. We can't conclude. We had to do it here because Wendy didn't have a computer. So we're going to come back for part 2 of the land issue over in Hamblen County, which affects us all in the state of Tennessee, can affect us over time. We need to make sure that we are all on the same page. All have a great night and have a blessed evening. We'll see you next week on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Good night.